Then the fifth tip that I want to give you on how you can study the accounting standards is you make sure you expose yourself to a lot of questions. Because it is one thing to understand the principles, it's another thing to apply the principles. So solving questions will play a key role in your ability to be able to pass the examination. That is very important. But you don't solve questions when you have not understood the principles, when you have not spent time to understand the principle. That is why I said you need to understand the basic principles in respect of the standards. Then you now expose yourself to questions. Because as you expose yourself to questions, the principles will come to life. There is a statement in certain questions that you will come to get, or you come to see as you practice a lot of questions. And I want you to expose yourself to questions across all sources. Yes, the ICAG past questions will be important, but remember that 99.9% of the time, nothing in the past question will be repeated. So yes, you can use the past question, but nothing in the past question will be repeated. Instead, you can get questions from the ICAG question bank. You can buy that. You can get some questions from ACCA sources. You can get some questions from CIMA or other sources. Then you can get some questions also from the tertiary institutions. So people doing first degree, their MBA, their MSc, end of semester examination, like those questions, you can get them and solve them. So make sure that you are really getting questions from various sources and exposing yourself to them. Some of you, what you do is to be with the ICA past questions and you solve from 1963 up to 2023. That is not the way to go. Okay, go outside the ICAG past questions and make sure that you really know about the principles and apply the principles. So expose yourself to a lot of questions, because that is how you'll be able to pass the examination. Then my final tip that I'll give you in relation to how you study the accounting standard will be to have the right mindset. Like I said in the very beginning, your mindset is very important, because the way a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you think the accounting standards are difficult, it's going to be difficult. Whatever you tell your mind is true. Okay, so if you say something is difficult, it's difficult. When you say something is not difficult, it's not difficult. When you say I can, you can. When you say I cannot, you cannot. So whatever you tell your brain is what your brain is going to go in for. There is nothing like right or wrong. Whatever you tell your brain, that is what it's going to go for. So you have to make sure that you have a positive mindset. You need to make sure that you see this thing as it's easy. Because one of the myths surrounding the ICA examination is, hey, it is difficult. No matter what you do, the ICA will fail you. Nobody is there to fail you. Whatever you write is what you get. Because the people who make such statements, I always ask, the exam you failed, someone was an overall best student. The exam you failed, some people passed. So what is the excuse? You think you are bigger than the ICA? You think your destiny is so crucial that if you become a chartered accountant, Ghana will become like heaven, or what? Like, why do you make such statement? Have the right mindset. It's a professional examination. Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you go to the exam hall and write, that is exactly what you get. And people go to the exam hall and get 5%, 3%, 15%, 20%. Whilst others go and they get 70, 80, 90. So you ask yourself, what is the problem? It's the mindset. If you see the exam as it's easy, I can do it, my life depends on it, I need to become a chartered accountant as early as possible. If you see it and you imagine yourself going to take your certificate, how your life is going to transform. If you imagine that and now let that inspire you to study, to sacrifice, to dedicate yourself, you will become successful, because the mindset also links into your attitude, your approach, the way you do your things. But ultimately, you have to make some sacrifices. The people who pass the exam are the people who go the extra mile. The people who pass the exam are the people who are willing to make some sacrifices. The people who continuously fail the exam are people who are not willing to make certain sacrifices or adopt certain strategies to help them pass the examination. So how do you learn the accounting standards to pass the examination? These are my top tips. and what you have to do to be able to pass the examination. Let me know in the comment section any other questions that you have for me, something you would want me to share my thought on, and I'll see you in the next episode as we continue with the IFRS discussion. In the next video, I'm going to be taking some of the accounting standards, and we're going to be explaining the various fundamental principles so that you can understand them. Then you will expose yourself to a couple of questions. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.